Hi, good evening. It's Wednesday evening, and tonight I'm going to finish up very briefly in this video talking about the analysis of the advertisement and the number 4 question that we didn't get to in the last video because it got cut off. So as you remember, we were looking at this advertisement for an Armani fragrance for men, sport code. If you hear people in the background, my mother is here visiting, cooking. TV is on. Okay, so number 4. What does this say about the larger culture? So the first response that the students gave that wasn't really comprehensive enough is this. Our culture values masculinity. Our culture values muscular and fit body types. Our culture values affluence, and our culture values sex appeal. Okay, so all those things may be true, but the problem is that what does masculinity mean? And that's the whole point of this kind of an exercise, or of semiotics, that we want to look at the different meanings that a concept like masculinity has. So we can talk about it really broadly. Well, what is the American concept of masculinity? And maybe there are some points of similarity. But if we start looking closer, for example, if we look at, well, what is masculinity, or how is masculinity represented for the company Nike or for Apple? So when Apple uses men in its advertisements, how does it show masculinity, or what kind of masculinity is shown? So we know, like in Nike ads, it's probably going to be a very athletic, very active, not seductive, and not this type of masculinity that Armani seems to feel is important. So I told them that they need to go more in depth and explain, not just say masculinity, but explain what kind. And when you talk about affluence, also, that could mean lots of different things to lots of different people, right? So for some people, affluence might be very let's say, understated and refined elegance. For somebody else, affluence is a lot of bling, a lot of diamonds and colors, and very showy. So affluence can be depicted in various ways. So we want to say, how does this ad, or how does this company depict it? So in the second analysis that they handed in, they did a very good job, I think. And this is what they said. Our culture values the whole independent and non-conforming woman, but it seems that it's only external, as conveyed in the ad. In the end, we still seem to value a woman who has to submit to her man. Our culture also values a masculinity that takes control and is dominant. Okay, so this is a much deeper analysis. And I think it will be hard for you to find an advertisement where you see a couple, because they decided to use a couple, right? But a couple where you see the reverse, where you see the male in a more passive type of shy position, where she's looking away, looking down, and the male as being more a bit aggressive, or very determined and independent and in control. So I think it'd be difficult to find the reverse. So that says something about our culture, that probably if we skim through that magazine, we'll see that a lot of the ads take on that same character. So that says that as a whole, perhaps we're only looking at one advertisement, but if we were looking at an entire magazine, let's say, or 10 magazines, or magazines over a period of a year, then we might be able to make some generalizations that there is a certain kind of masculinity that keeps getting repeated and repeated, and we never really see another type. Probably if we look at magazines that are geared toward, for example, an older audience, senior citizens, it's probably not going to be this type of, maybe it'll be somebody who is playing golf or doing something very active and showing that he's young at heart. If we look at a gay magazine, perhaps it's going to be something completely different. So thank you for listening, and I will continue with more videos this evening about assignment number 7 for luxury, a review of a chapter that we're reading, also discussion about the next project that's coming up. Thanks again. Good night.